no weeping lasting all night. I know that joy comes in the morning light. So I'll march on to a new song, 'cause I've been marching to that old one way too long. And I gotta move on and take new steps every day, 'cause I know there is got to be another way and a brighter day. So I march on.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to PURELive. It is Friday night at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, and you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Thank you so much for joining us. And those of you that are not aware of how we do this show, we will start off with our sponsors. But you're definitely going to want to hang on afterwards, because we have quite the topic to discuss today. The show will be done a little differently. And I really, really would appreciate it if you ask questions, give feedback, because this is deep. So, that being said, here we go.
Hey, sis. My name is Yasmin Brown, and I am the founder of Beauties on Successful Strides. We are your sisterhood community that cares, and we are advocates for your goals being achieved. I'm talking about those goals that you have put on the shelf, those stretch goals that you really, really want to accomplish, but a part of you feel like it might be impossible. We have been helping women to make the impossible happen, and we want to journey with you. We want to be part of your tribe to help you with making the impossible happen. And we do that by helping you to shift from the no zone. The no zone is that zone where it's like, you know what, I really want to do it, but I don't know if I can. I don't know if I should. I don't know if I have enough resources to do so or the support to do so. The no zone is also the fear zone. We help you to shift from the no zone to the no matter what zone. The no matter what zone is having that head crusher, no matter what, get it done, bold, confident mindset. And then we help you to be equipped with spiritual success strategies to success. That is basically helping you with developing systems that works while being part of a community that will support you, love on you, cheer for you, celebrate you, be resource providers for you, and so much more. The time is now, sis. If you are serious about your goals being achieved, if you are serious about making the impossible happen and reaching that next level, then join us. Become part of our sisterhood. Become part of a community that truly, genuinely cares. And I'm just excited to welcome you to Boss soon. Let's go. Let's take them goals off the shelf. Let's make them happen. Let's make the impossible happen for you. See you soon. Bye.
I love her so much. So, an organization that I am a part of, they are very professional. They provide you with resources, training, and just all around support to help you to accomplish your goals and your dreams. So if you want to be a part of this organization, you can go to the website that you see right here, beautystrides.com. Again, that is beautystrides.com. And now we're going to talk about Posh Women's Apparel. Posh Women's has provided me with several outfits that I have worn on the show. This being one, this being another, this being another, and of course this one. So if you would like to also get your clothes from Posh Women's Apparel, you can go to poshwomensapparel.com and put in the code Asia and you will get 10% off. Isn't that nice? You're welcome. And also, if you go to our website, at the top you'll see Abella Eyewear. You can get some good shades, And you can do it under my code, and you'll get 30% off. And that will help the channel and the show. So I appreciate your support in advance. All right. Now, we're going to get into it. So today I have a co-host who was a guest on my show. We have P.U.R.E, and we have our special guest, Ashton McKinney. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
I appreciate it. So before we get started, I'm going to play this video so you can understand what it is that we're talking about today. So here we go.
Well, tonight, this man, Brian Medeiros, is facing charges after the Polk County Sheriff says he used too much force when he allegedly shot and killed a teenager outside an apartment complex. This happened in Davenport. That's in eastern Polk County near the landings at Four Corners apartment complex. And you can see that's off of Highway 27 near Highway 192. Investigators tell us the man killed Divine Pritchett, who was on drugs when he left a hotel and went to that complex. At the complex, the sheriff says Pritchett, he was making some gun noises but was unarmed. Medeiros then came outside to see what those noises were, but Pritchett began walking toward him. Well, the sheriff says Medeiros then shot him twice.
We will work with the state attorney's office to complete this investigation, but the evidence is obvious to me at this early stage of the investigation that there was too much force used, and that instead of standing your ground, he was actually seeking the guy out.
And so my mother calls the state attorney, and this is the exact words that this man said to her. He said, we cannot, because my mom's question was, why are y'all not going at second degree when all evidence points to malice, to harmful intent? Clearly showed signs. And the state attorney said to her, and I kid you not, going for second degree would be hard. If we went for second degree, he could possibly walk. It'll be even easier for him to get the stand your ground law to work on his favor if they went second degree.
I thought that I would have some sort of closure. I don't even know if that's the word, because I don't even think I'll have closure, but I didn't want to think about it the way I've been thinking about it. So when he rescheduled or continued it again, it's like, where does that leave me? You know? I don't know.
So I think you guys now have an understanding of what we're talking about today. Please, again, feel free to ask questions. Feel free to leave comments. I am paying attention to the chat as always. Now we're going to get into it. Hi, Ashton.
Hi.
Thank you for joining
How are you?
us.
Thank you for having me.
How are you today?
I'm good.
Good, good. So, yes, I have Chris along to help me with this conversation. But what I would like,
Hey, yes.
so how I would like to start this is, one, I'd like you to introduce yourself and let the people know why you reached out to me.
Okay. So my name is Ashton McKinney. My 19-year-old son was shot and killed September 6, 2020. I reached out to Asia amongst thousands of others just to be heard because no one was trying to hear me. The police department was not communicating. The state attorney wasn't answering my calls. They would treat me as if I wasn't even his mother. In their eyes, 19 years old is considered an adult, so sometimes they just don't even want to tell you much. And I can kind of start from the beginning because it'll give you an idea of what I went through. So my son lives with me. So September 5th, Labor Day weekend, He told me that he was getting a room at a hotel with a bunch of his friends, just to hang out and do what teenagers do. And it was my mother's birthday. So as he's trying to get ready, I'm harassing him to make sure he calls his grandmother to say happy birthday. Thank God he got that moment with her. He then left. We said our goodbyes. He left, of course, with me thinking that he'll be right back on Monday. So he went out, and I went about my weekend as if he was coming home. So the next day, I got a phone call about, I want to say 11:45, close to the afternoon time, September 6th now. And it was from a friend of my son's. And basically the friend was saying that they took acid. My son, he had a bad trip. And I guess he assumed that the people in the room was trying to harm him. So he ran out of the hotel room they were staying at. So he had no shirt on, no shoes on, just socks on and basketball shorts that were real loose fitting, so you could see his briefs that he had on. And he ran from the hotel they were staying at to a nearby apartment complex. It was probably a half a mile to a mile from the hotel to the apartment complex. How nobody seen him walking barefooted with no shirt on and nobody called the cops, I still can't understand that. It was about 3 a.m. At least that's what they're telling me. I get a lot of different times, so I'm just going off of what was told to me. He reached the apartment complex. He came encountered with a guy that was walking a dog. They said that he was making like weird noises, like pow pow, acting like he's trying to shoot the dog, just with his hands. But you can clearly see he has no weapons. The older man that was walking the dog said he can tell that my son was under the influence. So when my son got close to him, he shoved my son on the ground and then proceeded to go up to his 3rd floor to call the cops because he knew my son was under the influence. And my son was on the floor, and I guess he was trying to come back to his senses and follow the guy. He went in the same direction. As he's going up this flight of stairs on the 2nd floor, there's a couple that's outside, and the man will be the shooter, and his girlfriend, I guess my son and this person must have had words, I'm assuming, but my son proceeded to go all the way up to the 3rd floor. Why this guy felt that my son was a threat at that time, I still don't know. But that guy decided to leave his 2nd floor level and go all the way down to the 1st level and go to the trunk of the car, and retrieve his gun. And then he went back upstairs past his 2nd level and went all the way up to the 3rd level. By this time, my son was up there with the previous guy, and they were trying to talk my son down, figure out who he is, while still on the phone with the cops. I guess my son and this guy had more words. They said my son went towards this guy, so this guy shot my son once. He told the police officer one time had no effect on my son, so he shot 3 more times. That had my son he was knocked down a flight of stairs, and I guess that's where he had his last breath. They told me that his last breath was at 6:17 in the morning. So whatever happened when he ran from the hotel at 3 in the morning to his last breath at 6 in the morning is still unclear. His cell phone's still missing. It's a lot of things unclear. So as the friend called me, not to tell me this, the friend called to tell me that my son is missing. He ran. He took acid. He ran. Detectives are there at the hotel because they found a body of someone who fits the description of the friend they said was running. As the friend is telling me the story, the detective asked who he was speaking to, I'm sorry. And the friend said the mother. So the detective got on the phone, introduced himself, and said that he can't tell me much right now because it's not confirmed that it's my son, that they just found a room key in his pocket, and that's what led them to that hotel. So he told me he will keep in touch with me. I gave him my number, and I hadn't heard anything back. I'm calling my son's phone because it wasn't confirmed that it's him. So in my mind, I'm just praying that he's alive. So I'm calling his phone back to back. It's going right to voicemail. Finally, someone calls me back about, I want to say close to 3. And they tell me they still haven't confirmed if it was my son. Or just giving me updates. And I asked if I could come see the body, and they told me that I could not because of coronavirus. So due to coronavirus, I can't go and identify the body. So I asked them, my son has my name tattooed on his wrist. So I asked if they could just identify through the name on the wrist. And he told me he would, and he'll get right back to me. I didn't hear back to him until about 6 in the evening. And at 6 in the evening, he was able to confirm that the tattoos matched and that it was my son. And that was the last time I heard from the detectives. To this day, I haven't heard from them. They told me that a state attorney would get back to me. And that took about, I think, about a month. It was right before the guy's first pretrial that I actually talked to the state attorney for the first time, because he was not taking my calls. So it kind of went downhill from there. His pretrial, I believe his first one, I'm not going to be like correct on the date, so excuse me, because my brain is always foggy. But I believe his first pretrial was November 11th. And then that got postponed because of him not being able to give a deposition. The next one was scheduled for January. That one got postponed. I can't remember the date. Same thing, deposition. And the next one was in April. That got postponed. So the next one that's coming up will be July 7th. And I'm hoping we can at least get the pretrial over with.
Yeah. Oh, goodness. That's a lot. That's a lot to deal with.
That's not even half of it. Gosh, it's been a long journey. I'm going to drink some water.
Bless your heart.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Chris, did you have something to say?
No.
Oh, okay. First of all, I want to address something. And the defense that was trying to be used in the case was the stand your ground law. This is what you mentioned. So what I would like to state is what the stand your ground law actually is. And I am pulling this from Wikipedia. So it reads, a stand your ground law, sometimes called line in the sand or no do retreat law, provides that people may use deadly force when they reasonably believe it to be necessary to defend against deadly force, great bodily harm, kidnapping, rape, or in some jurisdictions, robbery or some other serious crime. Under such law, people have no duty to report using deadly force in self-defense, so long as they are in place where they are lawfully present. Stand your ground law by someone who is the initial aggressor or otherwise doing something illegal. The exact details vary by jurisdiction. And I wanted to read that so that people understand, just like in the video clip, and to believe stand your ground law does not apply here for various reasons. And one reason being that he had an opportunity to just walk away. Also, he was not attacked by your son. Is that correct?
My son never laid a hand on him, not one.
And as you stated earlier, he didn't have any weapons on him. He wasn't even completely clothed, so it was showing that he had nothing threatening on it.
Correct. Correct.
So
I think that's where I got so mad at, because no one was listening to that, to that, and no one was keeping me informed. Like I said, the state attorney was not trying to even answer my calls. It got to the point where he just asked for my email address so he can give me the link to the court dates, because on Zoom. This one that's coming up in July will be the first in-person one.
Okay.
So yeah, he I post my son's death on my social media, because I live in Florida, but I'm from New Jersey. All of my family are in New Jersey. And I just didn't have the strength to tell each person, you know, and so I just put it on my social media site. And from that point on, I was just trying to share everything with them. And at the time, I wasn't even upset yet. I wasn't upset when the detective told me all of what had happened. And then I later learned that they went with, well, I missed a lot of part of the story, but they went with manslaughter. That was the thing. They understood that he was not standing his ground, so they did acknowledge that. But they went with manslaughter, which they said took about 5 hours for them to decide. It was a team of them. And they went with manslaughter because they don't believe that he had intent on killing my son. So I still didn't understand it. I was still okay, because at the end of the day, I was happy that the man got caught, and I was happy that they understood that he was not standing his ground. I'm illiterate when it comes to the law. So in my mind, it was fine. It was not until I started sharing my story on social media that my family and friends were comparing my story to that of Trayvon Martin's. So I started to do research to see what are they talking about. So it has a lot of similarities, but our stories are really different. So, but at the end of the day, they both went with manslaughter, and that's what I was looking at. So I was kind of comparing the two cases, and I think that's what drove me crazy too, because I seen that he walked, and I seen a lot of things that he was doing that I'm like, I would lose my mind if this guy on eBay trying to sell guns, or he just doing things like that, and that, you know, to my child. So that's all I kept thinking about. And so the more that I was like sharing the story, I just was not getting the feedback that I thought I would. People see the TV and they see Al Sharpton, and they see the people embracing them, and they see the Ben Crumps out there, and they're hugging them, and they're supporting the families. But there's so many out there like me that they don't hear, they don't want to take the calls, they just don't want to deal with it. And so I'm also biracial. I don't mention that much either, but I'm biracial. And my white side of the family was hearing the way I was on social media carrying on about the situation, just trying to get my son's story heard. And they contacted my mother, some were contacting me, and they just basically, they don't see race. And then they were offended, super offended about how I was screaming Black Lives Matter. So that made me more upset. So those YouTube videos, especially the first one, you heard my potty mouth, because I was just, at that point, it was just like, it's not about all of y'all. It's about my child, who didn't deserve this. And that's kind of where it all started. It was like, from there, I was just like going Twitter crazy. I was going crazy. That's how I found you. But through all of that, it was, each time I was doing it, I was getting threats in my DMs. I was getting emails, the craziest emails. I was getting threats about, if, you know, to my mother, the things that they would do to her if they see her sleeping with a black man. It was really, really crazy for me. And that happened around January, February. And I made 2 attempts to end my life. It was that bad. I'm not a social media person. So when I finally started doing it, it really messed my mental up. So I took a break for a while. And but yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for you, I met you in April. And it was like, since April, you blessed me by, you know, your resources, your knowledge. And from that point on is a better, but it was a long journey up until this point.
Yeah, I bet.
I want to say something. You have to ask on something, because I know. One thing I want to clear up. What I want to ask, so people, how much was the fine when the guy murdered your son? What was his fine question?
Thank you. I forgot all about that. That's my mind. I'm telling you. He that was another reason I was upset. He bailed out the next day. I believe he bailed out the next day. 10% bail. It was 1,100.
Right.
Yeah, my rent is
Oh,
more than that.
that's ridiculous. So, and then if I recall, you told me he has priors.
Yes, he they I guess we can't say it because he wasn't convicted, but I'm still going to say it because it shows his character. So he's had, I don't know if I should say allegedly, it's in the paper, the cops shared it, so it's out there in public records, but he shot his brother. He had an altercation with his brother and he shot his brother. And I'm assuming because it's a family situation that the brother didn't press charges. And then I don't know if it was the same brother, but him and his brother had an altercation with a repo guy where they pulled a gun out on a repo guy. So you can see that he's gun happy. So it just shows the type of person he is. They're not going to use it, of course, in court because he wasn't convicted. But and he's still home, by the way. I don't know. He's still home. He's still employed because I do my own detective work. So he's still employed at his same job. They took him right back. Life went on for him. So for me, I had to spend my holidays without my child and my life ended. But for him, it just seems to be going on. So I think that's another part of my anger too, to, stalk his social media and see that he's living life, to see that he's still at work, just to see it doesn't look like it affected him too much. And that kind of it hurts.
That just makes me angry. So to do at this point. And again, the ones that are watching or listening in, feel free to ask questions or leave comments. I will make sure that everyone sees them. This time we're going to take a quick break and we're going to play the video that actually explains the entire story according to, so we can get, I won't say full picture because Aston has full picture because you know how it affected you and your family. So I'm going to let you guys hear, there's a question, but I want to ask it after we do this break. So after we do this break, we're going to go ahead and play that video and continue on the conversation. So, and for those of you that are on YouTube, please thank you very much. So here's the break.
Jamal Rogers, and I'm a singer, songwriter, choreographer, voice actor, and I am the creator and talk show host of PURELive. PURE is an acronym for perfectly undefined raw elegance. So naturally, we want our content to be pure, raw, and elegant. It airs live every Friday at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time on YouTube and Facebook. And if you'd like to see all of the episodes, you can reach it at asiajamal.com, ASIAJAMAL.com. Or if you'd like to be on the show, you can reach me at asia@asiajamal.com. Hope to see you soon.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are about to watch the video that explains what it is that the police department is saying the full story is, and then we'll hear more from Aston and Chris. Hey, Reed, here we go.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here to brief you about a shooting that occurred this morning at the landing at Four Corners, which is on Highway 192, just off of Highway 27 in the edge of Polk County. And here's what occurred. I'm going to give you a summation of the information that we have up to this point. And of course, all of this is subject to change as the investigation goes on. But we have our victim, Divine Pritchett. He's a black male. He's 19 years of age. He was staying down the road with some friends in the Best Western, and there were about 5 or 6 of them all together. We learned at about 4 a.m. this morning from his friends that he dropped some acid, and that's their terminology. They used acid, and he just freaked out and left. He was wearing a pair of shorts, no shirt, and only had socks on. So he ends up in this apartment complex. And he's in the breezeway of an apartment complex when just prior to 6 a.m. this morning, there's a man walking his dog. As he walks past, he hears a guy going, pow, pow, pow. And he looks, and there's this 19-year-old who is about 5'5" and 125 pounds, according to the information on his driver's license, as if he's got a gun, and he's making this noise, pow, 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 but he doesn't have a gun. So he speeds up. He walks faster. The guy comes out of the stairwell and grabs him on the shoulder. He turns around and shoves him down. And then he runs and goes up to his 3rd apartment floor. He has a roommate up there, and he tells them, hey, this guy just attacked me down here. And his roommate and he come out, and they start looking for him. And our witness 1, as we're calling him, who has the dog, is dialing 911 to say there's a guy out here that's acting really crazy, really bizarre. And as they're looking for him, there is another couple that came out of their apartment on the 2nd floor, and as they said, they went down to smoke. And they learned of this event that took place. So at that time, who is now our suspects, Brian Medeiros, Medeiros, a white male who's 25, goes down to his car and gets his handgun, a Taurus, and he puts it in his waistband and covers it with his shirt. They finish smoking. He goes back up to the 2nd floor, which is where their apartment is, and he tells his girlfriend or fiance to go inside. He hears noise on the 3rd floor. And he goes up to the 3rd floor, and as he's on the landing, there's the landing on each side of the apartment complex, he sees the guy laying, our victim, Divine, laying flat on his back on the other landing. And someone's trying to talk to him. And it turns out that it is not the person with the dog, but his roommate. So the guy gets up and he goes on up to the 3rd floor, our victim, Divine. Our shooter goes up, sees him there. The victim turns around and starts down the other stairwell. Well, our shooter comes down his stairwell, and then we see where our victim, Divine, is walking directly toward our shooter. And even though he told his girlfriend to go inside, she's standing at the door, but now they see he's got his pants down. So if you can imagine this, our victim has his pants down to mid-thighs. It's clearly indicated he doesn't have a firearm. And he's walking directly toward our shooter, Brian Medeiros. Brian Medeiros then does something that's interesting. He pulls his gun and he shoots him. And when he shoots him, he says it has no effect. And the guy's really close to him. So he said, I'll walk around him and I start past him. And he turns around to follow me and I turn around and shoot him some more. And he's caught up with me, and then I walk past him again, and as I'm going down the staircase to the first floor, he follows me and he tumbles down behind me, and that's where he dies.
I had to breathe for a second. I am lacking understanding here. So I'm hearing that he had to walk away and get away from the situation, the one that shot your son, but he goes downstairs to his trunk, grabs a firearm, shoots him. As your son continues to move, he turns around and shoots him again. That's what I heard. Is that what you guys heard?
Yeah, not to mention that when he went down to the car, remember there's 3 levels. So you got to go all the way down to your parking lot. You got to go to the trunk of your car, retrieve your gun, pass where you live at on the 2nd floor, make it all the way up to the 3rd floor where my son is with the previous guy with the dog. So you had plenty of time to think that over. You had plenty of time when you hit your 2nd floor to just think it over and say, maybe I should just go in the house, call the cops. It was no reason you had to make it up to the 3rd floor. So I'm clueless. I'm clueless why they decided to go with manslaughter. I'm clueless when we did talk to the state attorney. He told me that he could not go 2nd degree, or he chose not to go 2nd degree because he feels as though that would be harder than it would be easier for that man to walk on the stand your ground, because it's hard to prove that he wasn't scared for his life. So I asked him, well, what makes my son the threat? Why is it easy to prove my son is the threat? But he couldn't answer that. He could not answer that. So I'm lost myself because I don't get it. I really don't get it, and I don't understand it, and I'm trying to reach out to different people, and I'm trying to find maybe a lawyer. My mental is going, so I'm begging for mental health help, all types of things. And that when I talked to that state attorney that day, it really had me set off. So I'm at work and I'm driving, and I made that first initial YouTube video, and that's where you hear me cursing and carrying on. And I was just livid at that point. I just could not understand how it was okay for this guy to be at home. I couldn't get it. And I'm like, maybe because I'm mama bear, maybe because I'm just going hard for mine, but it just didn't make sense to me, and no one could help make sense for it to me. No one could help, make sense. So I made the video, but I worked for a job it's a nonprofit, but it's a Christian-based job. And again, I know that video had a lot of cursing and carrying on, but I had just lost my son, and I'm hearing from a state attorney that it's hard to prove that guy was not scared for his life. I know fear, and fear has you running. It doesn't have you going too. So I was just mad. My job called me in the office, and they basically asked me to take that video down because it didn't look good for the company. And I'm like, I'm not taking that video down. That's me at my raw. I'm at my rawest. I'm real. There's someone out here who feels just like me, and I'm not hiding that. I'm not hiding how I feel. So I refused to take the video down, and they said, if you don't, the board will probably fire you. And I said, I'll help you out, and I left that day. And that was 5 months ago. So it was just like nonstop. I felt like hate. I felt like no one was understanding me. I felt like, a job that I was at for the last 4 and some years let me go based off of that, knowing what I was going through. And I just felt like I had no way out up until I met you. I met you in late April, or not met you, but emailed you, and from that point on, you've been a godsend, because prior to that, no one was hearing me.
And I see this comment that says, that's insane. That man had no business even confronting Divine. That man seemed like he was hunting Divine. And I agree. There was no reason for him to confront him. If his girlfriend was able to get away and go to the room or whatever, and that means he was able to do so as well. And I say get away, but from all accounts, everything that I'm hearing, Divine did not do anything aggressive. He may have been acting strange because, he's on those drugs, but he didn't do anything aggressive. I want to address something Felix said real quick. Said manslaughter lets you get bail, murder is no bail. That's not necessarily true. But what they normally do is, if it's suspected murder, the bail is much higher to make it more difficult for them to get out. But yeah, when it comes to manslaughter, then that goes further down. To me, that's a slap on the wrist. Chris, did you have anything to add?
It's a slap on the wrist. It's a slap on the wrist. Age. It's really a disrespect.
Uh-oh, we lost Chris. I think he's having some technical difficulties. We lost him a few times already. There's another statement. It says racial injustice is part of the decisions these lawyers are dealing with. It's a tragic situation. The dehumanization of our young black men is what made it easy to shoot Divine. I agree. And there's Chris.
Yeah.
So Chris, what were you saying? Yeah, we hear you.
Witnesses out there? Any witnesses?
I believe they do. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I believe they do, but again, no one communicates with me. And that's another reason why I felt I needed a lawyer. So a lot of people do want to know, why did I want to be heard? It was not why people thought. It wasn't for no fame. It wasn't for any of that. It was literally because I am clueless. And I feel like because they're not informing me the way I think I should be informed. And it's quite funny because my son does not have a squeaky background. And it's funny because they will harass you to make sure you show up to court with your son then. But now when I want to be a part of this court, it's like they don't contact you. It's super hard. But yeah, from what I heard, there is witnesses, the girlfriend being one of them. And also there's a couple of papers, different people that wrote, Orlando Sentinel. It was a couple of them that wrote on this story. And one of them, and I believe a witness said that it was my son trying to talk to the girlfriend, like flirt with her, that set the shooter off. So that's another alleged reason why he went after my son. Again, I don't have any communication with a detective to tell me who said what, where, how. So I'm left to just wait for this pretrial. Another reason why I can't go back to work is because I can't concentrate. The pretrial hasn't even happened yet to let me know what they're even thinking of doing with him, what they're trying to sentence. I don't know anything. And so like the non-communication, it was like, it's killing me. So court was like a must for me, because at that point I can get some type of, I can hear everybody. I can hear what everybody has to say, what they're planning on doing, because I'm clueless. And I think that's really unfair, because I should know something. So the questions you asking me, most of that I had to do on my own little detective work by reading the papers and watching the clips that you guys see here. That's a lot of how I got my information.
Yeah. That's messed up. There's a part of this that I want to address before we go. It is getting late, but I want to make sure that we address this part. You had expressed to me that you did feel like race was a part of this. So before you respond to that, I want to show people something. You know, because people are always saying, "Oh, you got to make everything about race. You got to make everything about race." The information I'm about to provide for you guys has come straight from the FBI website. So I am not making this up. This is not from a Black Lives Matter statistics or anything like that. This is from the FBI. So let's take a look. Here are bias motivation categories for victims of single bias incidents in 2009. And I want you to zero in on that huge piece right there with race, ethnicity, ancestry bias. You see a whopping 57.6% as opposed to these other things into the bias. I want y'all to chew on that for a second. The other thing is, and this is also from the FBI, is 57.6% of the victims were targeted because of the offender's bias against race, ethnicity, ancestry. The other reasons in regards to religion, sexual orientation, gender identity, disability, gender bias, those percentages are so much smaller. We're talking about 20.1, 16.7, 2.7%, 2%, 0.9%. Okay? I didn't make this up. Nobody made this up. So this is not a situation where, we're just like, everything's about race. So of course this is a racial issue. We know good and doggone well that the table was turned, and it was a black man that shot this white man, you'd be hearing a totally different story. That's just facts. Period.
Facts. Facts. All facts.
Absolutely. And in the beginning, to answer that question, I did not see race in the beginning. No, I didn't. I never see race. I said I'm biracial, so all I see is black and white for everything. So like I just do not see color. So in the beginning, I was fine with that. I told you I didn't know anything about law, so I was fine with the fact that they at least acknowledged it wasn't stand your ground. It wasn't until, like I said, the lack of help I was getting where I felt I needed to be my own detective. I needed to be my own lawyer. I needed to be everything, that I started digging into his social media. And he uses the N-word loosely a lot on there. And he also puts quotes like he loves to put himself in destructive situations. And I screenshot all this, so I have it. This is not me making it up. This is on his social media. So I started, after doing my research, after trying to compare it to that of Trayvon Martin, to see research like you're doing, to see statistically what would it have been if the tables turned. I started looking all into that myself because along with grief, you go through so many stages, and guilt is one of them. And I started off with so many friends on social media to literally like 35 friends now, because a part of it was I'm screaming Black Lives Matter. I'm screaming so much. I feel like I'm screaming a lot of hateful words that I feel are offensive to a lot of my white friends, a lot of my white family. So now I got internal guilt I'm dealing with. So now I'm deleting them off of my Facebooks and all of that, so that way I don't offend anyone, because that's just who I am. So I deal with the grief of my son, but I'm also dealing with trying to avoid the hate, just begging for love and embrace and to share my story, because the share button does so much. And I think that's what also got me mad, is because people don't realize how vital a share button is. If you remember the girl that had the hair problem, she shared hers, she got it solved, didn't she? It's how missing people are found every day. It's how background dancers become on celebrity videos. You get the point of what I'm saying on how these share buttons work. So why I wanted my story told is because a share button could have had a lawyer that maybe would have been like, let me take that case pro bono, or a mental health therapist that would have been like, I feel really bad for this situation. Let me talk to this girl. Let me talk her off the ledge. That's why I wanted my story told. And that's why I was going as hard as I was going, because I needed someone to hear me. And around May, it was right before my son's 20th birthday, I was really down and out, and I didn't have anybody to talk to because, again, I don't want to feel like a burden, and no one's reaching out to me. So I'm the type of person, if you're not going to call me, I'm not going to call you. And I feel like I shouldn't be really calling you because y'all know what I'm going through. So no one was trying to hear me, and I really needed help. And mental health here in Florida is really, really hard. It's basically non-existent. So I literally walked myself to the hospital just so I can talk to somebody. And this happened in May. And I went to the hospital and I told them how I was feeling because, as I said prior, I had tried 2 other times to end my life. And I don't want to go. I have another son who I love dearly. I don't want to leave him, but this pain is unbearable. So I'm explaining all this to the hospital, and they Baker acted me. They Baker acted me. I don't know if anybody knows what that means, but that's basically where they feel as though you're a harm to yourself or other people. So they take your rights, they take your cell phone, they take your clothes, they take everything, and they dress you in paper, and they take you to a psych ward, and they lock you in a dark, cold room for 3 days, and no one talks to you. No one comes in there with you. And I'm in there and I'm like, why am I being treated? The doors had no handles. I couldn't even get out if I wanted to. Why am I being treated like a criminal when I'm hurting? I just need help to grieve with my son. Dev, I can't cope with this right. But yeah, if it wasn't for the doctor that literally heard me and was like, you're not crazy. He said, you have a broken heart. And he got me out of there. Or had I not talked to that doctor, I believe the minimum you can be Baker acted is a week. I would have had to stay in that psych ward. So this is a little bit of what I'm going through as far as like just not getting help, you know.
Yeah. What about city council?
I don't know anything like that. I've tried different things in my area to get in touch with different people. I've tried with my job that I worked at, it was a nonprofit. They dealt with a lot of like commissioners and things of that sort. So I was reaching out to them. No one, I'm literally like being honest, it was Asia who was like the first person to answer my email back. A lot of other people that I was talking to, I don't know if I can say their names because they're big people, but I did I got through. Like my grind was hard and I was getting through some heavy hitters. But these heavy hitters will say they'll call me back and I'll never hear from them again. So I don't know what else, I don't know what else to do on my part, and I'm only but so much. And I want to do something. Shoot, sometimes I think about going to City Hall and doing a hunger strike. Just little old me, just something. But I know they could take my little behind right out of there, just little old me. So I needed that support, and that was another reason why I needed that share button, because I need support. I don't have family like most people do. I have a family of 4 at the time before my son passed, who lives in Florida alone. And so it's hard not having anyone and literally being by yourself, and then feeling that when you're expressing how alone you are, how much you need mental health help, and people are just writing back prayers up or sending you emojis, but they're really not doing anything. So
yeah, that's the easy
that's
way
a lot,
out.
huh? And that's not even nowhere. We're nowhere near finished, but that's a long journey, and I'm nowhere near done. I'm just coming into 10 months.
Yeah, and ladies and gentlemen, this is why this is a part 1 and a part 2. Just so you understand. Go ahead, Chris.
Well, I want to commend you first, Ashley, because you're a strong woman. Because you still, the joy of the Lord is your strength, and you could just sense the strength that you have, in dealing with this situation. So I want to keep encouraging you to keep fighting this fight, because you're not alone. You got Asia's doing a wonderful job helping you. I'm trying to figure out in my mind what can I do to help my part, and you got people I'm pretty sure on this line that's praying for you as well, because people it's messed up. And one thing, ladies, like you said, it kind of makes me wonder, because a lot of these injustices happen on camera, right? So I kind of wonder, had this happened on camera, would certain people have picked the case up? You get what I'm
I
saying?
believe so.
You feel me?
I
But by
believe so.
it off the camera, so it kind of like trying to sweep it under the rug, and that's wrong. This is wrong. It's wrong.
I believe so. I didn't
Yeah.
want to say their names, but like I said, I talked to heavy hitters, and I feel like because it wasn't on camera or because it wasn't police brutality, it wasn't the end thing. It wasn't trending. They forgot about the Trayvon Martins of the world. They forgot. So yeah, I do believe that. I do.
So
Yeah.
there are a couple of questions in the chat. So the first one here. The question is, when are you planning to make a video update telling people how you finally got help, even your, which I mean, I'm not looking for any praise here, but I think they're just wondering if you're gonna have an update in regards to whatever assistance you got. Do you plan on doing?
I'm definitely gonna do an update. The thing with the type of grief I'm dealing with, it's like people be like, live, day to day. It's literally minute to minute with me. I could be on cloud nine, happy, goofy, and then I could just break down and cry for no apparent reason. And I haven't done a video like that because aside from Asia did a lot. I guess that'll go into the part two. But prior to Asia, I had talked to so many people who would say they're going to do this, and then I'll be on such a high roller coaster that I'm finally going to get help, and then I'll never hear from them again, and it put me in such a low. And it was like, why tell the world what's about to happen? Because I was doing it with my own family, like, oh, I talked to this person, and then they'll call me like, hey, have you? And I got to be the dummy to be like, no, sorry, I didn't talk to them. So it's kind of like I don't want to update people until I get some actual help, because people have talked to me, but they keep saying what they think they're going to do or what they're going to try to do. And then I don't hear from anybody. And 10 months is coming up and no one still shared the story. Everybody hears my story, but no one was sharing my story. So that's why I haven't done like an update like that to answer that question.
Okay. And there's another thing, and Philip is asking, what can we do to help? It says, tell me what you want me to share. I have 4 Facebook pages and a lot of Facebook friends. So he wants to know how he can help.
What I was saying previously, it was just sharing the story at the time, because no one's communicating with me as far as I'm speaking on law enforcement. I'm speaking on the state attorney. They were not communicating. They're still not communicating with me about a lot of things. And so I felt maybe it was a lawyer that I needed, because at the end of the day, the state attorney does not work for me, so I don't expect him to do what a lawyer should be doing for me. And then it goes into what kind of lawyer do I need? So I don't know. I personally don't know these things. That's again why I felt a share button would do that job. A share button would have someone who had knowledge of this situation, could find that person that can navigate. Because I'm at the point now where I know it sounds crazy, but I need like someone to hold my hand and walk me through this stuff. Same thing with the funeral. I mean, I've never went through any of this. I'm 37. I had my oldest who passed away at 17. So I'm still grown with my child. There's a lot of things that I still do not know. So I was making that apparent. If you ever look on any of my social medias, I'm very vocal on what I've been experiencing, not just on updating people on YouTube, but if you look through my whole social media, I'm constantly updating on how I feel and what's going on with me. So if people see that and see what I'm going through, saw that I was Baker acted, and I'm still begging for mental health help, I'm still begging for a lawyer, that's what I need. If I'm saying share my son's story, it's because maybe we might get that lawyer, maybe we might get that therapist that'll talk me off the ledge the next time. So that's what I need, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I need you to share it with me so someone will have a link to her. So Felix, what I am going to do is I'm going to continue to communicate with Aston. I will share her her YouTube so you can be updated. I will share all the information that I get from Aston, and more will be given in part 2. On the second leg of her journey. I say the second leg and not the last leg because this is still ongoing, and we don't know how long it will be or what the end result will be. I encourage you guys though to share this also with the people that you feel have resources that can assist her. Whether it's attorneys or counseling or health groups. Just in case you didn't pick up on where she's located, she's in Florida. So that's why that's part of why there's a comparison in regards to trade. It's that stand your ground law that's going on in Florida that she dealing with, which the police department has made clear it doesn't fit. So we don't have time to go further into this. It just makes my head hurt. Um, but but we will be here again next week. We're gonna close this episode out with a song, and then after that, any closing remarks that Ashton or Christy has for you guys. So here we go.
Oh yeah. Today I'm not okay. Another mother whose child is gone. Now she'll never see them graduate. Oh, I'm worn down from this hate. God, if you're listening, I could really use your help today. Now normally I'd say I'm fine and just put on a smile, but I'm in so much pain. I'm looking for the sun to shine, but in these cloudy skies, all I see is rain. I'm not okay, I'm not alright. If I had a tear for every sister's loss, I wouldn't stop crying. No, today, I'm not okay. I'm not okay, I'm not alright. When is enough enough for them to care about our lives? No, today, I'm not okay. Today I'm not alright. I wonder would he still have the dream if Martin Luther King was alive? Oh, they shut down another light. Another family is fatherless just because of what he looked like. Now normally I'd say I'm fine and just put on a smile, but I'm in so much pain. I'm looking for the sun to shine, but in these cloudy skies, all I see is rain. I'm not okay, I'm not alright. If I had a tear for every sister's lost, I wouldn't stop crying. No, today, I'm not okay. I'm not okay, I'm not alright. When is enough enough for them to care about our lives? No, today, I'm not okay. Oh no. Today, I'm not okay. I woke up this morning with the same problems from yesterday.
That song.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I want to hear from Ashton first and then Chris. What would you like to leave our viewers on? What would you like to say to them?
I just want to thank everybody for watching. It means a lot to me. I'm looking for the type of help that we was talking about earlier. and it will be a good change for me aside from all the hate and things that I was getting, the threats in my emails. It would be nice to just have someone saying they hear me.
Amen to that. Chris, did you have any closing remarks?
I think I said them earlier about just keep staying encouraged, ask them just keep staying in prayer, and just remember that it just takes one. You don't need 100. You just need about maybe 1 or 2 people to really see what's going on. Favor from God. Keep praying. You're not giving up. I don't believe there's going on, and I believe something's gonna happen, supernatural. Something's gonna happen, and you're gonna get some help to help solve this injustice, and that's what it is.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. We got your back, girl. And
Thank
we're
you.
gonna hear more about this story next week in part. Thank you guys for listening. Remember to embrace God's perfect design, which is you. Till next time, Fridays, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Have a good evening. We love you. Good night.
Bye.
Although we